G'day guys and gal, there are quite a few unpleasant ways to die. Burning, drowning, death by snoo. All of these are endings humans generally try to avoid if at all possible. But death can get a lot worse than that. Getting hunted, cornered, slashed to pieces, then flayed is pretty much as bad as it gets. So naturally, there is a group of twisted psycho Xenos in Warhammer 40k that will do just that. When a human dies, they want to avoid three things: fear, pain, and humiliation. Getting a headshot on a battlefield will keep you free of pain and humiliation, but there will be some fear. Falling off a balcony will keep the fear and pain short, but the humiliation will be quite prominent. Getting kebabbed by Necron Flayers and then having your skin wrapped around them as a cloak will guarantee you all three. Before we get started, shit licensing deals, weird and obnoxious government restrictions on our internet, and an overall lack of internet security. In this day and age where it seems like every Russian and their cat wants to hack us, a VPN is essential. So I'm happy to announce that my very long-standing partnership with Surfshark is back in April with a vengeance. First off, how does Surfshark VPN solve all those above listed problems? Its VPN allows you to access the internet in other countries, greatly expanding your Netflix or other streaming service libraries. This also allows you to access websites and content that your country has blocked via government firewalls. Finally, when you do use a VPN, your identity is masked and untraceable. Hence, you are borderline impossible to track or hack when your VPN is running. So why Surfshark over the others? Well, it's super easy to use, just one click and bam. It also has a handy browser extension to make it even easier to access. On top of that, using my link and code Majorkill below, you'll get a whopping 83% off and 3 months free. And if somehow you aren't satisfied with what I believe to be the best VPN around, then Surfshark offers a 30-day money-back guarantee. Cheers to Surfshark for sponsoring this video. Today we'll be going over the Necron Flayers alongside the Flayer virus. We will discuss where this virus came from, what it does to the Necrons, how it gets passed along, and all those other delicious details about the galaxy's worst ever affliction. Let's get into it. The origins of the Flayer virus goes way back, 60 million years before the God Emperor suckled on his mother's tit, during a time where gods roamed the battlefields and the Necrons decided to solve their skin cancer by selling their souls to the Catan star gods and turning their bodies into living metal. Well, turns out that was a shitty trade, as the Necrons despised their ruthless star gods, who they believed had manipulated them into damnation, which you know is exactly what happened. As such, the Necrons were like, "Eat death, fuckhead," and they fired a reality-breaking superweapon at one of the Catan, completely annihilating it. The issue with this, however, is that the Catan all represent fundamental laws of reality, hence each one you destroy destabilizes the galaxy more and more until eventually it would cease to exist. Fortunately, the Catan they killed was Landugor, the Flayer, who represented something kind of irrelevant and unnecessary to the galaxy's existence, hence nothing noticeably bad happened on a larger scale. However, he was a spiteful bastard, hence as he was dying, he unleashed a curse upon the Necrons, a virus which twists their mind and body, making them lose their sanity and gives them a constant thirst for flesh and blood. Only a few Necrons were infected, but they soon began to spread the infection to others, causing entire dynasties to become consumed by the madness and join the ever-growing Flayed Empire, an empire of flayed Necrons that exist in a pocket dimension where they can seemingly attack anywhere at any time in the galaxy from. When the Necrons entered their great sleep, it seems the Flayed ones also went into hibernation, still seemingly under the command of the Silent King, as they only started popping up when the rest of the Necrons did too. Although from reading the Infinite and the Divine book, we can tell that Trazyn and the other Necrons were aware of and wary of the Flayed ones, even before the Necrons had officially joined the galaxy-wide clusterfuck. Now this might just seem like a typical zombie apocalypse for the Necrons. After all, it follows a near-perfect zombie movie formula, but the Flayed ones don't give a shit about normal Necrons. All they seek is blood, flesh, and skin. Necrons have none of these, hence they're not even considered a remote target. If anything, the Flayed ones actually like the other Necrons. After all, their usual behavior is to wait for normal Necrons to engage enemy in battle, then they pop out of their pocket dimension, flay some bitches, and then head off. The Necrons fucking hate it when the Flayed ones do this though. Despite technically getting reinforcements, they don't relish the fact that they're getting exposed to a pretty horrific virus. Imagine you're fighting a knives-only war. Everyone is covered in cuts and there's blood everywhere. Then suddenly reinforcements arrive, but the catch is, they all have AIDS. You don't want to be knife fighting near an army of dudes who have AIDS, even if they are on your side. While it's not exactly known how the Flayer virus spreads, in most cases it does require direct contact with a flayed one. When Trazyn encountered and was low-key cuddled by one, he was put into quarantine for decades before the other Necrons were happy for him to rejoin society. Some Necrons are even immune, as shown by the existence of the overlord Valgul, who rules an entire dynasty of flayed ones but hasn't been infected at all, despite getting more exposed than a streaker at a cricket match. More on him later. Certain Catan also seem to have the ability to mind rape a Necron really hard, infecting them with the Flayer virus, as seen when a Transcendent Shard of the Deceiver used it to help turn the tides of battle against Trazyn and Orokin. So what exactly happens when you're infected? What changes occur? Well, at first, the infection is subtle. It ain't like World War Z where that shit hits you like a bus and has you retard charging within 10 seconds. The Flayer virus can take years or decades for symptoms to show. At first, it'll just be an uptick in bloodthirstiness. Your combat discipline will slip, causing you to cease fire a few seconds after the command has been sent. You will also begin to sadistically relish the combat, instead of being the cold calculating robot you're supposed to be. These early symptoms are easy to miss, as one semi-malfunctioning Necron warrior out of a million isn't a huge deal, but eventually it becomes more obvious, especially when a flayed one's body twists into its new form, growing long claws and hunching over. Even the most blind Necron would notice it then, especially since this is about the time the flayed one will begin flaying its enemies and wearing their flesh as cloaks. For the flayed one, all they can think about is consuming flesh, but since they have no organs or any form of digestion, they end up just basically smacking lumps of meat against their face until they become a splattery mess. Their hunger is never sated, so there isn't really a recharge or cooldown period for them. They will appear, kill shit, flay shit, vanish back to their pocket realm, and as soon as they sense another good opportunity for flesh, they will reappear. So what is this pocket dimension I keep referring to? Well, we haven't been able to actually see the inside of it because you'd probably have a better time jumping into an active volcano than you would visiting there. But from the brief glimpses we've seen of the portal that leads there, it's described as a total nightmare realm, full of rotting flesh and flayed skin. It would stink so fucking bad, oh my god, can you even imagine? Yuck. When a flayed one kills a victim, that victim is marked and will vanish into the flayed dimension when the flayed one that kills them also travels there. Hence why there's so many dead bodies there and it would smell so terrible. Even looking at a portal leading there for too long can turn Necrons insane and infect them. It's unclear who made this pocket dimension, but it was probably Landugor's home before he got destroyed. After all, his curse on the Necrons was for them to be like him, so getting access to his house as a result of that makes sense. This dimension isn't the only home base of the flayed ones. There also exists the Bone Kingdom of Drazak within the Ghoul Stars. Of course it's in the fucking Ghoul Stars. For those that don't know, the Ghoul Stars are a shitty place to visit, full of weird xenofuckery that even Chaos doesn't want to have anything to do with. I did a video on the topic, but within it is a Necron dynasty that got mass infected by the Flayer virus. All of them except for their overlord Valgul, who I mentioned earlier. Valgul decided to stay and continue to lead his now zombified people. Every few months when they eventually run out of meat to pretend to eat, he loads them up on his ship, dumps them at a nearby world full of people, lets them flay an entire population before taking them back home for another couple of months. What a good dad. It's not really known why he hasn't just yeeted the fuck out of there, but it's probably because he feels bad that under his leadership, his dynasty degenerated so badly, so this is likely the way of him trying to make it up to them. Despite the Bone Kingdom sounding like an interesting plot point, nothing has really come of them so far beyond just being another one of the many boogeymen that lives in the Ghoul Stars. So how do the zombie robots work in the context of 40k? How are they actually a major threat on every battlefield beyond just looking scary and stinking like shit? After all, a Necron warrior with a Gauss rifle is easy enough to deal with. Surely a Necron warrior with no rifle and a cooked brain is even easier, right? Wrong, you fucking dickhead. The flayed ones are incredibly fast, moving way faster than you would expect in a very erratic format. This combined with the sheer terror they instill can really mess with the accuracy of whoever is trying to shoot them. The Flayed virus also seems to make them more durable, or at least more resistant to crippling damage or pain, so they can take more hits than a normal Necron. Their claws are also incredibly strong and sharp, able to cut through Space Marine armor like a katana going through a 9-year-old. Due to their ability to pop out of the Flayed dimension pretty much wherever, they can position themselves behind your your gun lines when you least expect it. Sure, a super disciplined squad or army would be able to form up and take them out pretty quick, but like I said, the morale factor is a big thing here. Nothing quite like seeing a zombie Xeno robot wearing your best mate's flayed flesh as a cloak to make you say fuck this and bail. The Flayed ones also do have some sense of tactics, often as a result of the presence of a Flayer king, which are generally Necron overlords who have been infected. Due to their status as an overlord, they maintain a significant amount of their personality and free will, hence when they get infected, there is a good chance they can maintain a lot of their sanity. They still look fucked and they need flesh, but they can direct their Flayed ones squads and communicate, turning them into a force to be reckoned with. The Flayed ones lore wasn't always like this though. As some of you know, the Necrons are very different to how they were back in the day. The old Crons versus new Crons lore debate rages on. The old Necrons were incredibly soulless with no personalities. They were basically Skynet Terminators who just wanted to kill everything. However, this kind of matched up with the Tyranids a bit too much, hence they became a bunch of space tomb kings with funny personalities and a lot of pettiness and arrogance. The old Cron Flayed ones were the Necrons who awoke from their slumber too early but were stuck in stasis, hence spent millions of years locked into one spot, eventually going insane. Upon their final release from stasis, they felt the need to flay human flesh and wear it as a way of feeling alive again. This is why old lore had Flayed ones hanging out with normal Necrons without too much drama. There wasn't any chance of infection. However, now that there is, the Necrons try to keep a good distance from the Flayed ones, even to a point where if after a battle a few Flayed ones don't return to their dimension, the Necron army they assisted will straight up annihilate them. Just goes to show that even soulless, fleshless, immortal robots are not immune to the horrors of the Warhammer 40k universe. If you enjoyed the video and you want to support the channel, then Patreon is the place to be. Really $1 per month give you access to a boatload of some pretty cheeky hentai, including this new sexy sangy piece. Hit the subscribe button, then hit the real subscribe button for more fleshy content. Join the Discord for more memes, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.